Welcome to Metal Band's Chronicles, where metal lives! Welcome back to Metal Band's Chronicles, where metal lives! That's right, you know what, we're coming at you with a contest entry video actually for Josh Keech for his 400 subscriber contest entry video here, you know. And Josh is a really good guy. I'm not even doing this really for an entry. I'm just doing this, you know, to support his channel and to support what he does because he is a good guy, a very nice guy. He always comments on my guitar videos, or, you know, if I do a review, he'll come and comment. So he's been very supportive of the channel and a very good part of my channel over the years, you know. And I first came across Josh probably, I'm going to say 4 to 5 years ago here on YouTube. I first found out about him through JC Rock and Metal reviews. So going back a few years indeed, but Josh is definitely a good guy. Anyways, for his contest entry, okay? He's only asking, basically, you know, your 4 favorite bands and, you know, 4 albums, you know, that people should get into if they're not familiar with metal, or, you know, they're wanting to get into metal, you know, or have never heard metal. Like, what are 4 metal albums you would, or, you know, you would recommend, you know? So, you know what, I got a few here. I kind of cheated a little bit. Well, I don't know if you want to call it cheating, but I added 5. I picked 5 because this was really hard to narrow down, to be honest. Harder than I thought it would be, but a lot of my choices are basically stuff people know, so. All right. And I'm not one for, like, picking favorite bands, but I will say these bands are definitely the bands that influenced me to want to pick up a guitar and to get into hard rock and heavy metal at a very young age. So right now, I picked the Scorpions. You know, early on when I was getting into music, I really enjoyed their music a lot. You know, and of course at that time I only knew a few tracks like, you know, Rock You Like a Hurricane, you know, Love at First Sting, you know, and stuff like that. Or, you know, The Zoo or Blackout or No One Like You, you know, the stuff any Scorpions fan would know. But I'd go back through and basically rediscover their whole catalog and their 70s material. So I'm just using this for reference. And personally, my favorite Scorpions album, Taken by Force. So yeah, the Scorpions come in. Obviously, you know, one of my all-time favorites is Black Sabbath. You know, where would we, you know, honestly, where would we be if it wasn't for Black Sabbath? Because to me, Black Sabbath is the one that founded it all and started it all when it comes to heavy metal and the development of heavy metal. It goes to Black Sabbath, and, you know, Heaven and Hell is easily my favorite of the Ronnie James Dio era. Up next. Now, when it comes to riffs, yeah, this one's definitely a high influence. I mean, the time changes, you know, this band did were just impeccable and absolutely impressive to me. I'm talking about Merciful Fate. Definitely one of my high favorites, you know, when it comes to, like, my favorite bands and artists of all time, you know. And this is just some really riffy stuff, in my opinion, you know. Some very progressive leanings, too, you know, when it comes to Merciful Fate. Even though it's not, like, categorized as progressive rock by any means. But it's got a lot of time changes, a lot of riff changes, you know. It's amazing what Denner and Cerner, or, you know, what Denner and Sherman did on those early records, you know, to this day. All right. Personally, you know, one of my all-time favorite bands. I know this band's like a love-hate relationship with a lot of people, but I'm a huge Megadeth fan. Have been since '88, so I just picked, you know, Megadeth for one of my favorites. And Peace Cell's such a masterpiece, you know, from that early lineup with, you know, Chris Pullen and Garth Samuelson. And again, it just boils down to riffs and the technicality of the lead work that Dave Mustaine and Chris Pullen and, you know, future members like Marty Friedman, you know, Chris Broderick, you know, Kiko and Timo, the current guitar player they have now, even Al Petrelli, you know. Dave always hired great guitar players. So easily Megadeth is very influential on me and one of my all-time favorite bands. And a band that's become my favorite band over the last 25 to 26 years. Iced Earth. I just love this. I love Iced Earth's music. I know this is a love-hate thing with a lot of people too. John Schaefer is a master when it comes to rhythm guitar playing. That down-picking he does, just absolutely impeccable. I mean, he's playing some very complicated rhythms, you know. And I just like the songwriting when it comes to Iced Earth. Like, to me, John Schaefer's pretty much another Steve Harris, you know, along those lines of writing, like, epic songs, you know, putting out these amazing arrangements, you know, when it comes to music. Yeah, so Iced Earth. All right, 5 albums I would recommend for anybody just getting into heavy metal, you know. I mean, I picked out 5 here. The obvious one is Black Sabbath Paranoid. It was the first Black Sabbath album I heard way back in the 80s. So, definitely Paranoid. I don't got to say a lot about it. We all know it. If you're into metal, obviously, and have been around this music for a very long time like me. So, yes. Up next, another one that needs no introduction. Metallica's Ride the Lightning. My favorite Metallica album. You know, the only Metallica album I don't get sick of. I can listen to this album still all these years later. You know, I don't got to talk much more about this one either. We all know it. Another one, you know, and this could have been in my favorite band category. In fact, this would be in my top 10. You know, and I was really debating to put this in my top 5, but because, you know, but Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance. I definitely recommend this. If you're getting into heavy metal, this is definitely, you know, I think it's accessible enough to get into, you know. It's a classic album for a reason. I mean, you got big songs on here like You've Got Another Thing Coming, you know, Electric Eye, Bloodstone, Riding on the Wind, you know, Take These Chains, Devil's Child, Fever. Great album. And the title track smokes. All right, moving on. My favorite Bruce Dickinson album. I'm talking about Iron Maiden's Power Slave. I highly recommend this if you're getting into heavy metal. You know, you want to know about heavy metal, where it came from. Another one that was very early for me, Power Slave, man. Easily my favorite Bruce album. I mean, everything about this is great. Aces High, 2 Minutes Till Midnight. The ultimate epic Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the title track, Power Slave. You know, I think this whole album's good. Even the underrated tracks like Flash of the Blade, The Duelist, Back in the Village, which seems to get hate for whatever reason. I don't know, man. I love this album. And last but not least, maybe an oddball, but in a way, yeah, I would definitely recommend this. Restless and Wild by Accept. Such a killer album. I highly recommend this if you're just getting into heavy metal. I think the tunes are catchy enough and fast as a start, self-explanatory. One of the earliest examples of, like, one of the earliest proto-thrash metal tunes. You know, you got the title track, Restless and Wild, Demon's Night, Princess of the Dawn is this epic track, you know. Neon Night's not to be confused with Black Sabbath. Neon Night's a good track too. Great album. Anyways, that's my contest entry for Josh Keech. Hope you enjoyed this, buddy. Hope you get more subscribers in the future, buddy. And keep on doing what you do on your channel. And anyways, that's my contest entry. Keep it metal. And keep on banging those heads. Out.